Very good day to all of you. My name is Professor Tissa Wijeratne, your host, and I'm also an elected trustee of World Federation Neurology, and I'm delighted and thrilled to host our plenary speaker, Charlotte, who doesn't need any introduction to this audience. She has done tremendous amount of work in the field of stroke, but let's hear from the horse mouth. Charlotte, very good day to you. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Very happy to join you to discuss the pitch of this plenary session. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Let's put the things into perspective to the audience. You may know that neurological disorders are the leading cause of disability worldwide, and one of the top causes or top contributor for this is stroke. At this point of time, just quoting global burden disease data that both Charlotte and me contributed to, impacted well over 111 million people worldwide. That's a lot. Charlotte, before we get on to that, before we going deep dive into your talk, just tell us, our audience, who you are, where you are, and what made you interested in neurology in the first place, and then stroke, and then intracerebral hemorrhage, and so on and so forth. You can start from whichever the stage that you wanted to start, primary school, high school, med school, residency, whatever. So take us through the journey. How did Charlotte become the Charlotte that we know of today?
So I'm based in the north of France, in Lille, where I did all my studies. And I must say that right at the beginning of the medical studies, I was very interested by the brain. So really a fascination by the organ, and also very attracted by emergency medicine, intensive care, things that take you into action. Um, Probably I watched a lot of TV shows like ER at that time, and I was trying to think about a way to work with emergency and also the notion of this complexity and fascination of how the brain works. And very early on during my trainings in hospitals, I met Professor Didier Less, who was the chair of neurology at that time. And when I had to choose residency, I thought, okay, maybe cardiology could be good, but come on. Nowadays, and it was in summer 1999, so last century, I thought, come on, you can live with a heart in a box next to you. Can you do that with the brain? No. So let's go for neurology because this is an entire field to discover. And mixing emergency with that naturally took me on the path to stroke and cerebrovascular disease in general. So this is how I came into neurology and in stroke medicine. And then I think I was lucky enough to arrive in the stroke field at a time where everything changed with stroke units early 2000, IV thrombolysis 2003 in Europe, and then thrombectomy 2015. And now I think it's the time of ICH. So I think I was lucky to be in the stroke field at that time, and I like things that are moving fast. I like to be able to try to imagine what the next step is. And I think this is why when everybody was focusing their attention on IV thrombolysis and developing mechanical thrombectomy for ischemic stroke, I immediately focused on another point of attention that was intracerebral hemorrhage, because nobody really took care of those patients. And I must admit also that focusing on ICH also brought something very that is very important to me, which is the multidisciplinary approach of a disease. And in the ICH field, we work a lot with the diagnostic part of a neuroradiology, potentially the interventional part with neurosurgeons, with neurointensivists. And this is also what I really was very attracted, why I was very attracted for ICH research.
It's the pertinent point that you mentioned. The ICH had been neglected for such a long time. I remember as a younger trainee, I was just wondering whether we got it completely wrong, even with the classification itself. We call intracerebral hemorrhage as primary and secondary. Intuitively, you think that every intracerebral hemorrhage should be secondary, isn't it? It is up to us to find out the cause, but yet we continue to classify in this poor system. And the currently, without giving too much of information, actually, before we go to that, just remind our listeners why stroke should be one of the top priorities for anybody today.
Yeah, well, numbers are quite worrying. 1 in 4 person after the age of 25 years old will have a stroke one day. So it's huge. It's a huge weight on public health and on individual, because it's frequent and it can be very severe, because it's the first cause of physical disability among adults. It's the second cause of dementia. And in women, today, I like to say that, yes, women have a brain and they can die from it, because it's the first cause of death among women. So this is why it's important, and is that you can prevent it. 80% of stroke can be prevented by management of risk factors, by understanding what the disease, by knowing what to do when it occurs. And I think it's something very important when you try to leverage public health attention, is that, yes, it can be prevented, and when it happens, it can be treated.
I'll recap what you just said. Two very important points. One is it is the top cause of death for women. And then the second point that you raise, stroke is largely preventable, 80% or 84%. That's a huge number, and we just need to address the importance of lifelong prevention from first 1,000 days, early childhood, growing older, and middle age, and growing very old. Prevention has to come all across all ages. So you really hit the nail on the head by stating why stroke is still a top priority for neurology today, just by those 2 points and staggering numbers. And what do you think the new developments or recent advancements or the very hot topics in this area that you are going to touch upon this talk, without giving too many detail? I would like people to come and listen to you and intermingle with you at the plenary, but just give them a little bit of a teaser.
For the acute management, I think it's really try to find inspiration from what has been achieved in ischemic stroke in the last 20 years, and to apply it to ICH patients. And it's really to also to have the patient in the middle of multiple specialists working together, but very quickly to resolve the brain attack, whatever ischemic or hemorrhagic. And I will probably go into deeper details regarding what we could achieve in ICH if we want to reach the same level of efficacy than we do with ischemic stroke. And my second point is really to understand how also we can leverage public health attention and success to build strength to prevent, and to understand that if we prevent a stroke, even a mini stroke or a silent stroke, we will also decrease the burden of cognitive disorders in our population. And not only in elderly people, but also very early on in life, as you said. So I will really balance my talk between the very acute management to the very preventive strategies that can go far beyond just preventing stroke, but promoting brain health and being independent and cognitively well as long as possible.
That's a very important point, Charlotte. You just mentioned. Many of us who are in the clinical field, which both of us are, know very well that even if you have a genetic predisposition for vascular risk, say for an example, CADASIL, for an example, you know that among the family members, those family members who religiously practice preventive health, who are eating healthy, not smoking, not drinking too much alcohol, exercise regularly, plenty of fruits and vegetables, and sleep well, not too much, not too little, manage their stress level better, etc., they seem to have less vascular and cognitive burden compared to others. I know that we haven't done randomized double-blind control trials on this point, but you could say that across the board, preventive health is hugely important, both primary and secondary, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we all know that, but we still don't know how to apply it. And you know the acceptability of those change in the way we could live is quite difficult to really figure out. And I think one key thing is probably first to share the knowledge, and second to understand that when you have the knowledge as a citizen, you do whatever you want, but especially you do whatever you can. And this is where also um, um, uh, public health policy should be influenced by neurologists, because to be able to eat fruits and vegetables, to be able to have less pollution, to be able to have a more exercise, also rely on how we organize the community life in the cities, and probably neurologists are not the kind of specialists for the moment that are enough heard from our politicians and the people who do the policies. Probably because we do a lot regarding care, we do a lot regarding research, and now I think it's the time we have good data to
Hun-
to
hun-
to really inspire the next generation also of policymakers.
100% agree. I think time is right now for us to bring these things and become preventive health or preventive brain health advocates from grassroots level, and then the bottom up. Uh, One other question, Charlotte. Let us know the one key idea or one key message that you want your audience to take away from your plenary if they attended your session. What would be the key shift in clinical practice of neurology community or stroke community that you would prefer them to walk? I'm sure you want them to walk away with many, but if you were to pin down
It's
to one, what would
difficult.
that
It's
be?
really difficult. Okay, time is brain. So I would say that time is brain is also the case for brain ICH. And I think brain ICH should be managed by neurologists. It's really neurologists who have to take care of those patients. This is for the acute phase. And for the prevention phase, really, my key message will be to work on being better advocate for the community to protect their brain, and it concerns also the vessels.
Excellent. Fully agree. Now, looking at with a helicopter view, what would be your take on this fabulous World Congress, which is truly international, and you have 6 regions, 123 countries, all kind of neurologists coming there. One thing that I love about World Congress Neurology is it's truly an international meeting. But what would be the broad perspective that you think that World Congress Neurology 2025 is an important space for stroke physicians and stroke specialists and other healthcare workers in stroke field and to the broader neurology community?
Well, it's the opportunity to build new bridges I think probably neurology is evolving and is working sometimes a bit in silo, concentrating on stroke or concentrating on MS. When you talk with other neurologists from different fields, you learn new ideas of management for daily care, new ideas for research, and also we all take care of the brain, and we need to be all together to push forwards the advocacy that we just mentioned about brain health. So I would say it will be the opportunity to build new bridges between different subspecialty, and also you said it, between different cultures, because people face different barriers also in stroke prevention according to the country they are in.
It had been a wonderful chatting to you on this hugely important plenary, Charlotte, and I'm very much looking forward to drop in there and listen to you on the day. And for the broad audience, I warmly invite you to join us at World Congress, preferably on site, but you could join us online also. Charlotte is a terrific speaker, and she is very approachable, and you are most welcome to bump onto her and ask questions and see what sort of research collaboration that you can establish at the Congress. Before we wind down, any final reflections, or is there any defining moment in your stroke work that shaped how you approach the broader field of stroke? That would be nice take-home messages for our audience.
It's also very difficult because it's a progressive path. But I would say that a few patients that I met being on call, with basilar occlusion, basilar artery occlusion, or with very severe cerebral venous thrombosis, having to decide quickly. And for some people it went well, for others it did not went well. And I think those are the defining moment in a career that gives you hope, and also that makes you think that you should do better for the next patient.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. For our friends who are listening to us from wherever you are, we hope that you enjoyed the conversation with Professor Charlotte Cordonnier from France, who is very well known in the stroke field, and keep an eye on her work. She is pushing the boundaries of very important field, hemorrhagic stroke in particular, or ICH, and we both warmly invite you all to join us at World Congress Neurology. If you haven't registered yet today, visit the World Congress Neurology website and register, and we very much look forward to seeing you there.
See you in Seoul. Bye.